welcome to my channel. Well, I took a chance on another Congress from Rough Ryder, this time a bigger one. The first one I got, I don't remember which particular pattern it was in, but 3 out of the 4 blades had pin wrap, and it pretty much turned me off from the Congress pattern. You know, I know it's not a good way to do it, you know, base your opinions off of one sample, but that's what happened to me with my first Congress pattern. It was a smaller one, and every time, you know, I made the mistake of trying to sharpen out the ding and then closed the blade and got the ding right back. And this was after sharpening 3 blades at once. I mean, you know, one after another without checking them. So I learned my lesson from that. But I also learned a bad lesson, which was, you know, evaluate a pattern off of one sample. Now, I'd like to say on this one, I can't find anything wrong with this knife. The fit and finish, look at how these blades are stacked in here. Now, yeah, you're gonna get some blade rub, you know, along here. It's not really showing that much, but they're packed in like sardines in here. Now, this is the RR2118, and a Stockman is a pattern that I liked a lot because it gives you 3 blades. Well, a Congress will give you 4 blades. I guess sometimes more, but I mean, usually about 4 blades is what you get. So with this one, first off, it's in that black and blue series, which is a very nice series. This side is a little bit darker, but it's got the saw cut bone, which adds a little texture to it and looks. You got the flattened squirrel or beaver, bomb shield, whatever you want to call it. Looks like roadkill beaver to me. And then the first one out on the show side is a nice long pin blade. This one still has the RT on it, or this one just looks like an R with a crown on his head, the R unicorn. But this one has the mirror shield RR on it, and I think this is about 1.5 inches, maybe a little bit longer. 1 3/4, we'll call that, but overall a 2-inch blade on that one. Nice half stops on them and everything. All right, the next one, you can get to these. You just have to find a place where your nail will fit in, because, you know, the nail nick is somewhat obscured on this. You got a nice little drop point on this one. Again, they put the mirror stamp RR on there, match strike pull. Another 2-inch or so. This one's about 2 1/8 cutting edge, and about 2 1/2 overall. All right, we switch over to this side, and at the very back here, these are like the sheep footy guys. So this is a small sheep's foot, almost a coping blade with that angle there. Again, a pretty good pull on this. I'll try to measure these with the pull gauge and see what we get out of it. And then your biggest blade over here is a nice big sheep's foot. Again with the RR, and this one actually is where they put the stamp, blade stamp on it, 440A steel. Again, everything about this knife, to me, there's nothing wrong with it. For, people that think that Rough Riders are junk knives, man, I would have been happy to have this type of knife when I was a kid, this type of quality. And I think that's the niche that Rough Rider fills, is basically an affordable area for you to get into traditional patterns, but you can still use them too. They're not just like starter ones that you leave behind. You can find some of these that are well worth the money, something that you would be happy to carry and not feel like you're ripped off. Now, everybody's different. Some people have higher standards of quality, or if they get a $15 knife and the edge isn't perfect on there, to them it's junk. Well, I can't change their mind about that. And I don't work for Rough Rider or Smoky Mountain Knife Works, so what you buy is it's up to you. To me, you're missing out if you don't try out a Rough Rider. Now, I had a viewer who on my best most watched video of all that I've ever made was our Rough Riders Junk Knives, my response. I had a viewer that actually listened to me. A lot of them just say, they're junk, and they walk off, But this guy, I asked him, well, if you bought a Rough Rider, they're built by hand and backed by, for life, try another one. And to his misfortune, he got, in his opinion, another bad one, But to his credit, he at least tried. He wasn't closed-minded about it and said, nah, they're junk, I'm never going to buy another one. Okay, that's fine. You could be that way. But this guy at least tried it. And, unfortunately for him, his original evaluation of the knives, in his opinion, they were junk. Like I said, I'm not here to change everyone's opinion on stuff. All I wanted to point out is that if you're into traditional knives and you want to collect a bunch of different patterns and handle styles and stuff like this, to me, the quality versus cost and everything just can't be beat. Yeah, they're going to turn out an occasional bad knife. Every knife company does that. Every one. You name one. Except for perhaps maybe GEC, because they cost so much money to make that they can spend a lot more time on quality control. But I have heard of people I had a GEC that when you did this to it, it got pin wrap. Now, should that happen on GEC? No, it shouldn't, but it did. And it's not a fluke. There's been more than one that happened that way. So even the best made knives, occasionally, it just depends on their quality control. If you've got a person whose only job is final inspection, and they're good at it, they're not bored, because imagine final inspection, and they're running congresses, and you have to inspect every congress that goes out or whatever, or however many their sample size is. See, usually they do sample size. They don't do every one, they'll do a sample size. Quality control would usually come in and check on manufacturing jobs that I've been in. They would go through and they would take a sample of stuff that you produced and said was good for the customer, and they would evaluate it based upon the standards that the company had. And if it was out of any parameter, they would go back. This was the job of quality control. They would go back to the process that they thought induced that and try to solve the problem and fix it. So they were not saying that you'll never produce a bad knife. They're just trying to capture where the error occurred. Now, like I said, on this one, I don't get pin wrap. I don't get blade wrap on any of these, and they're good blade shapes and designs. And let's see how much this guy weighs at the very end. Also, if you have noticed my last video, I had a video about rage. I got over it, and I'll tell you how I got over it. I finally went to sleep, and I had a dream. In the dream, I acted upon my rage. And this is one of those dreams where when you wake up from it, you're glad you were dreaming. Because I had basically had the feeling, 3.5 ounces, I basically had the feeling of my life is over. You know, when you do something terrible and you can't come back from it, yeah, that's a bad feeling. Yeah, that's a really bad feeling. So I got over it, basically. I got over my rage, and it took a dream, a bad dream, to show me what happens if you act upon your rage. So there you go. I hope you found that interesting, and if not, well, maybe next time I'll make it more interesting. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.